Hello and welcome back to the lab. In this video I'm going to continue processing the cement silver in the beaker to the right. This silver-bearing solution came from my gold refining in the prior video. It was recovered from a questionable nitrate solution with a lot of unknown metals. To prevent them from coming out of the solution when I added the hydrochloric acid, I cemented the silver out on copper first. Now I will continue the rinses to get all the copper nitrate solution off of the silver. Just going to finish setting things up and I'll begin the rinses. My fancy and highly technical wood block. This gets poured off into my waste solutions. That's a pretty good amount that settled out overnight. Well, I knew I wasn't going to get much before it flopped over and stirred it up. I'll let this settle out for about 5 minutes. This is for the floaters. This is just distilled water that I use to break surface tension so that the floaters sink. This is for everything else that stuck to the bottom. It didn't flop over when I poured it. I'm going to set up so I can lean the pour-off beaker as well. This should allow it to settle out better. Rinse this down. I let these settle for about 5 minutes each time. I'll get this poured off. I'm just going to let this build up until I need to add it back. Now we'll get this one poured off. The lab's water supply is run from a well and not suitable for use. So all the water used in the lab is distilled. Get these sides rinsed down. Lean this so everything settles to one side. When stirring, try to imagine breaking up small clumps, holding the copper nitrate solution. All of the copper nitrate must be removed before proceeding to the next step. Once I believe it to be all gone, I'll test with ammonia. Ammonia can detect even trace amounts. Right before I lean it, I try to shimmy everything down to one side so that it will settle out better. Each time I let it settle, it's for about 5 to 8 minutes. This is distilled water to break surface tension. There is some stuck to the bottom here. I'm just trying to knock it down so it doesn't fall down during the pour. Now we'll just let this settle out. We'll pour this one off first so we have something to pour into. The cleaner you get it, the more it's going to want to suspend, and the longer you have to let it settle out. It helps to have more than one project going at a time while doing these. Now I can pour off this guy. Anything that gets poured off into the pour-off beaker will get covered later. These are no ink river towels. I save them up with my filters and process them when enough builds up. That's one complete rinse cycle. I'll keep going with the rest of the rinses until I think it's ready to be tested with ammonia. In the prior video, after a few rinses, I tested the solution. It tested blue then. This will be the second test. By testing blue, it means it was positive for copper in solution, which means I hadn't finished washing all the copper nitrate off. Let's see how it tests now. I'm going to draw up 5 to 6 ml for testing. Be sure not to cross-contaminate anything with ammonia. With a new pipette, I'll draw up about 5 to 6 ml of ammonia. I'm not seeing any color change. A little swirl. I'm not seeing any blue. Let me move it closer to the light. Nothing, no change. I'm going to add a bit more and let it sit for a minute. Okay, I think we're good. We can move on. I'm going to let these settle for a bit and then recover anything in the pour-off beaker. That's a good amount in the pour-off beaker that would have otherwise gone into my waste solutions. Anything that does make it into my waste solutions would get recovered when I process them, so nothing is truly ever lost. My waste solutions are kept in food-grade buckets. I get them from the local big box hardware store. I think it's a number 2 plastic. They hold up real well, and I have never had a containment failure by either vapor or leak. Get this all rinsed down to the bottom. Give this one last little look here. I don't see any blue. I'm going to get set up to redissolve the cement silver with nitric acid. I've got a new stir stick here. Hang on a second, let me change the view. Oh, I forgot to wipe it down. nitric acid, small beaker, pipette so we can go slow and see how it reacts. I'm going to add about 10 ml here. And we'll pause here and see how it reacts. I have the heat set to 50°C. Reacted as expected, adding the rest. I'll add about 10 more ml for a total of 20. And we'll pause here. Take it for a good spin. Well, it's just not reacting like I want it to. So I'm going to add another 10 to 15 ml and see if I can get a nice thick cloud of. Well, that's 20 ml, but it'll do. We now have a total of about 40 ml in. That's what I'm after. Now I'm going to take a precaution and place it in a Corningware dish just in case. Yeah, it's going to behave. This is distilled water. I don't think I'm going to use the pipette again, so I'm going to rinse it out and pour the water into the used beaker here. I'll keep it over here on the side if I need it. Primarily use this beaker with the water in it. I'll just add nitric when I get ready to use it again. It's already got the water in it. I'm going to release the nitrogen dioxide and see if or how much builds up. This will tell me how my nitric is doing and if I'm ready to add more or how close I am to adding more. I don't think I'm going to add more yet, but I am going to give it a stir. Mix things up real good. Now I think it's light enough to add more. I'll vent it and check. I think it's ready. I'm going to add more. There is already distilled water in the beaker, so I'm adding to that. There we go. That's about 20 ml of nitric added to 20 ml of distilled water. I'm going to add this in slowly because the solution is already pretty hot and I don't want to boil over. A good swirl. Rinse the sides down. Adding the rest. It's my beaker down. Give things a good mix. It's time for me to step away and get a bite. I'm going to set this ongoing reaction to autopilot, and I'll close up this fume hood and restart when I return. Hey, thanks for sticking around. I'll set back up to push this cement silver into solution. Wipe this down before I put it on the hot plate. Beaker, nitric acid. I was sent an email and have been asked about the brand and strength of the nitric I use when I buy it. However, most of the nitric is made in-house and I just pour it into the used bottles. Which is also why I start slow with most reactions concerning it. I start slow to gauge the strength of it, and it's now just habit. This is distilled water, and I'm going to add equal parts nitric acid. When I make nitric acid, I do not make fuming nitric. My target is 60% and it works well for my applications. That was roughly 20 ml of water and 20 ml of nitric acid. We'll just dump this straight in. Swirl it around and mix it up. Well, that was a weak response. Let's dose it again. There's still plenty of cement silver at the bottom of that beaker. Let's see what half does. Give it a good swirl. I think we can go ahead and add the rest now. Another mix. I forgot to rinse the sides down. Time for another dose. We'll do 20 ml of water and 20 ml of nitrate. The water is already in the beaker. Make sure it's all nicely mixed. And we'll dump it straight in. And give this a nice mix. I think this is where I'm going to call it for the day. I'll set this up to run overnight and be back at it in the morning. I'll get things all stowed away and see you guys in the morning. Hey, good morning. Thanks for sticking around. I'm going to get back at it, dissolving this cement silver. It'll take me just one moment to set things back up. Although from the looks of it, it looks like I won't be needing any nitric right off the bat. There's still some nitrogen dioxide still being produced, so I know there's still some nitric acid in there. Beaker, nitric. I'll also change the angle so you can get a better view. That's better. It looks like we just about got it all to go in solution. There's a few wavy lines that look like sediment down at the bottom. That's the remaining silver. So we'll go ahead and take care of that today. I do have the heat on, but it is going to keep it at just under a boil. I don't want it to boil, I just want it to be hot. I've been called away, but I'll be right back. This acid will continue to work, just at a slower pace. Heat only pushes it faster. It's not required. I should be right back, but I always stop everything just in case. Well, that didn't take as long as I thought it would. I'll get set back up and I'll continue to dissolve the cement silver. Now that I'm looking at it, I think we might be done. You see, there's nothing left in the beaker, and I was not measuring for an equal reaction, which means we more than likely have an excess of nitric. Really, there's three ways to deal with this. Boil off, energy intensive, no reward. Denox, more chemicals, no reward. Or give the acid something to dissolve. Solution, add more sterling silver. For this next part, I'm going to double up. In order to keep this as clean as possible, I'm going to rinse this off real quick. With a fresh pair of gloves, I'm going to put this up on the heat. I'll start by adding low heat and increase from there. We'll do about 75 C. I think the acid needs a little more metal to chew on. Dangerous vapors and fumes. That's why I'm using a long needle nose pliers. With more to chew on, let's see how dark the fumes get. That'll indicate just how much active nitric acid there is. By first indication, it looks like there's still a good amount left. The fumes have slowed down enough now, I think, that the rest of it will most likely get used up overnight. It is getting pretty late, so I think I'm going to call this part 2 and go in and get some rack. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next video.